Hello, welcome to our virtual Growing and Changing Parent Meeting. My name is Jamie Grimm-Rice. I'm the Health Education Content Specialist for Jeffco Public Schools, and I will be walking you all through this webinar. We want to first thank you for your flexibility and willingness to participate in this pre-recorded webinar. I know many of you have questions about if and how we might deliver the Growing and Changing curriculum during this time of remote learning. Please know that we are working on a plan and will continue to communicate with your student's teacher in regards to our next steps with Growing and Changing and all other aspects of their learning. As we know more information, your student's teacher will also continue to share that information with all of you. So during today's webinar, we will go over the reasons why we teach Growing and Changing. We will review the unit materials that are a part of the curriculum and go over sensitive topics that are within the curriculum. Finally, I will explain how your teacher will answer student questions. During the 2016-17 school year, Jeffco revised the Growing and Changing curriculum. We continually revise curriculum based on changes to Colorado academic standards, revisions to state law, and to make curriculum more relatable for students. As you can see, Growing and Changing began in 1988 and has gone through 3 revisions. During the 2016-17 revision, we had multiple stakeholders provide input on the curriculum and what revisions we should consider. These stakeholders included principals, teachers, content experts, parents, mental health professionals, spiritual affiliates, diversity and inclusion specialists, and our most important voice, high school students who were familiar with the curriculum. The topics that are covered in Growing and Changing include puberty, fertilization, fetal development and birth, responsibilities of young adulthood, and decision making. Fifth grade will not be the only time these topics are covered. During 7th grade, students will go through the science unit, Healthy Decision Making, and again during the high school biology unit, which is also called Healthy Decision Making. Within the slide, you can see the topics that are covered within each unit. Oftentimes we are asked, why do we as a district teach Growing and Changing? The next few slides will offer the rationale as to the importance of introducing this topic to 5th graders. First, we know puberty can begin as early as 8 years old for some of our students. Because of this, we want to assure our students that a wide range of development is normal in regards to their changing feelings and bodies. We also want to provide students with medically and scientifically accurate information. Additionally, we have specific behavioral data from Colorado and Jeffco teens to reinforce the teaching of Growing and Changing. 2 of the statistics are included on the slide. We also know that introducing these topics can help to delay the onset of sexual behavior and decrease risky behavior among our students. Jeffco also adheres to Colorado state law. In Colorado, the law states if a school or district teaches human sexuality education, then it must include the following topics: consent, sexually transmitted infections, healthy decision-making, drugs and alcohol. There are also other topics that the law includes, however, they are not covered within the 5th grade curriculum. The law also requires that the curriculum and resources we use are age-appropriate, culturally sensitive, comprehensive, and emphasize positive youth development. We want families to be aware of sensitive topics that are included within the curriculum. Therefore, the next couple of slides will be information about the topics and the rationale for including the topics within the curriculum. The first sensitive topic is the inclusion of gender and sexual identity. We introduce students to the definition of the following words: cisgender, transgender, heterosexual, homosexual, and bisexual. The reason we include the definitions of these words is to provide scientific and medically accurate language for our students. We want to emphasize to families that we only provide the definitions of the words and we do not place value on those definitions. The next sensitive topic within the curriculum is the inclusion of the definition of masturbation. Again, we are providing the definition in a scientific, unbiased, and culturally sensitive manner. It will not place value on the definition. The final sensitive topic within the curriculum is the inclusion of the definition for oral sex. The definition is found within the subsection Sexually Transmitted Infections, Bacteria, and Viruses within the student resource book. We are not concerned about our 5th graders engaging in oral sex. We are more concerned about our 7th graders. Therefore, if we introduce this topic in 5th grade and include the risks associated with this behavior, we dramatically decrease the risky behavior from occurring. The next part of this webinar will allow you to look over the student resource book. The district has made public the Growing and Changing resource book so that families can better support their students at home. These books, along with other Growing and Changing resources, are always available by going to the Jeffco Schools homepage at www.jeffcopublicschools.org. The next few slides will show you how you can access the resources. Once you are at the Jeffco Schools homepage, find the link labeled Academics and hover your mouse over the word. A drop-down box will appear. On the drop-down menu, hover over the word Curriculum. This will pop up a new box. Please click on the first row called Curriculum by Grade. Once you have clicked on the Curriculum by Grade tab, it will bring you to a web page that looks like this. Click on the link for 5th grade under the Elementary Curriculum section. By clicking on the 5th grade link, you can see all of the different units of study that are listed within the left-hand side of the page. Click on the Growing and Changing resources under the Science units of study. By clicking on the Growing and Changing link, you will be taken to a Google Drive folder with all of the public-facing resources for Growing and Changing. This includes the Parent PowerPoint, the Spanish and English student resource books, parent letters, and optional table talks that provide families with questions students can ask to help you speak to your student about what they are learning. For now, if you would like to follow along with the chapters I will go over, please feel free to click on the student resource book link. Chapter 1 covers information related to puberty. This includes information about the stages of puberty, personal hygiene, healthy body image, and healthy eating. Chapter 2 focuses on the reproductive system. Students will understand organs of the reproductive system and other information such as nocturnal emission and menstruation. Chapter 3 discusses the changes to emotions, feelings, and self-identity. This includes sexual and gender identity. This is also the chapter that defines masturbation. Chapter 4 focuses on the process of fertilization as it relates to sexual intercourse. This includes information about sperm and the egg cell, twins, and understanding DNA. Chapter 5 covers the fetal development process. Students also learn how the needs of the developing fetus are met. Topics in Chapter 6 include the birth process and caring for babies after birth. Chapter 7 is the final chapter within the student resource book. The chapter is an all-encompassing chapter that includes types of healthy relationships, consent and sexual abuse, harassment, drugs, and alcohol misuse, and using a decision-making model. It also includes sexually transmitted infections. Many families are concerned about how their student's teacher might appropriately answer a question from a student. This is a valid concern, and it is important to know that all Jeffco 5th grade teachers will follow the same protocol for answering student questions. If a student asks a question during class, their teacher will use this protocol. They will first stop and affirm the question so that they can check for understanding. This is important because we recognize the need to clarify exactly the question that is being asked so that we can determine whether we feel it is appropriate to answer and then how best to answer the question. Teachers will only answer questions that are topics covered within the curriculum. If they feel like the question is inappropriate or is a values-based question, they will not answer the question. Values-based questions are questions that might have a wide spectrum of beliefs. Teachers will explain to students that values-based questions will not be answered and that their teacher will encourage the student to ask the question to their family or another trusted adult. One way students might ask questions is through the Wonder Box. This is an anonymous question box that students can put questions in if they were not comfortable asking in front of their peers. Teachers will typically take 24 hours to respond with an answer to the whole class if they feel it is an appropriate question. The grace period allows teachers time to process the question and be thoughtful and accurate with their response. We briefly went over table talks at the beginning of this presentation. However, to reiterate, table talks are a way for families to engage in the curriculum with their student. This also allows families to discuss their own values and beliefs around sexual health with their student as well. When your student's teacher sent the email with the links to this webinar, there was also a link to view some of the supplemental videos that your student might watch. Please feel free to preview the videos. At this time, if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to your student's teacher. As more information becomes available about the district's plan for growing and changing within a remote learning environment, your student's teacher will share that with you. Thank you again for your time and flexibility.